You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi there. Welcome to a very special episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast. You may be asking yourself, why is this episode so special? And friends, I've got the answer. We don't have a specific date that this is coming out on, and it doesn't have a specific episode number. That, however, will be in the title of the episode. But this is evergreen content. And what do I mean by that? I mean, it's always going to be fresh. Today, I'm your host, Sean, and with me, as always, is Josh and his lovely wife, Kitty, also
That's
known
me.
as Katie.
Yep.
What do you prefer, Kitty, or does it matter?
Well, my actual name's Catherine, so technically everything else is wrong.
Okay, good enough. All right, so what are we going to do today? We are going to do one of our top 10 favorite genre movies. Now, this is an episode that'll come out on a random weekend when one or all of us cannot participate in the weekly pop culture episodes that you're used to, so this will just be random. So, today we're going to do Josh's top 10 favorite movies in the sci-fi, fantasy, horror genre that we know and love. Isn't that right, Josh?
That is correct.
Okay. Was that a good introduction?
That's good enough introduction.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So, let's get right into the top 10 favorite movies that you love. And you specified that you're not doing anything from about the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Because you want to give it a chance to percolate, to marinate, to
Exactly.
stand the test of time.
Because there's a lot of good movies that have come out in the last even 15 years. They're really good. And I don't know if they're standing the test of time. Because a lot of them I haven't had a chance to go back to. So all these movies are, if I see any of these movies on TV, I stop flicking the channel and I just watch that.
Okay, fair enough.
Even if I was flicking between commercials
Yeah.
and watching something else, I'll stay on these movies instead.
Because these are some of your go-to movies.
These are my go-to movies.
These are your go-to.
These are my... I'll always stop to watch them.
Okay, so we figured 10 would be a nice round number. Give us a good amount of an episode to talk about. So why don't we just jump right into it? And what is your number 10 favorite movie?
So number 10 is, we talked about it previously on the podcast, The Abyss.
Yes. James Cameron from 1989.
His ideal film. He pushes the limits of technology in this film, and it's about the bottom of the ocean. So his two ideal things.
He is big on the ocean, that's for sure.
Basic plot summary. So, this entire episode contains spoilers for movies. Be forewarned.
Good call.
Okay, so the basic plot, scientists at the bottom of the ocean in this research thing get some weird signals. Military comes down because they're concerned about the Russians and other stuff. They get contacted by this water entity. Weird things are going on. Military guys go crazy. Stuff ensues.
Okay, and I remember, I'm not sure that I've ever seen the movie in its entirety. I've seen making of in film stuff, and I know that there's like a water creature. It looks almost like a tornado, and it has like a weird bend in it, right?
Sometimes it looks like a tornado. It can really look like whatever it wants because it's liquid.
But mostly it's just a long snake.
Okay, a long snake.
Comes out of the tide pool.
Mm-hmm.
Not the tide pool, the moon pool.
Oh.
Comes up and goes across, searching for people, and then they close the door and all the water just drops, which is a great effect, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what is it about the film itself that you love?
Okay, so the film has a theme of discovery and understanding to it. So that's its overall theme.
Okay.
It's got some fantastic scenes, and even though we say a good movie is not made by good scenes, it's got some really good scenes. One of the most striking to me is when they drowned the rat.
Yes, you did talk about this on a previous episode of Rusted Robot.
So they have a liquid that is a breathable liquid. It's a hyperoxygenated liquid. All right. It's technically possible, but the problem with it is any liquid like that, the human lung is not designed to move liquid, so we wouldn't be able to oxygen enough of it, of our body with it. You would need a mechanical pump to pump the liquid into your lungs and then back out. But it's neat, and they show putting a rat in a cage inside the liquid, trapping in there, and oh, see this? So that caught me the first time I saw it. The military guy going nuts. He that's a scene that really catches you. Like, you see the sweat pouring down his face, and his eyes are one's really big. The way he's looking I'm crazy. He does a really good crazy.
I believe they call that effect pop-eyed. When you make one eye really big and the other one small.
Yeah. I can see that.
Makes sense.
Well, that's where he got his name from.
Right, Popeye. Yeah, because he did that.
Yeah. So, yeah, those scenes really caught me. The rising city scene got me. The typing scene got me. At one point, the main character is descending in a suit filled with a breathable liquid, so he can't talk.
Ah, okay.
So as he's descending into the abyss,
Hence the name.
He's communicating by typing on a little keyboard on his one arm with his other hand. And as he goes down, they see they're like, oh no, he's missing letters, and he's starting to, oh no, he's just going through the shakes, and it's a really powerful scene. And then he loses contact, and he just descends into the abyss on his own.
Oh, okay.
That's a powerful one. He dropped flares ahead of him, and they descended, and they eventually burn out.
Right.
Which means he's been descending for 45 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah, he's just falling, and there's this blackness around him.
Scary.
Yeah. So early on, the film has tension because of it's got a horror suspense to it. Then midway through, it's got a psychological suspense to it. And the final act, it's got a deeper thought aspect to it.
So it makes you think.
Yeah.
Okay. So definitely sounds like something that I should watch.
It is. It's a fantastic
It's a really good movie.
Now, it's in your top 10, but thinking of it critically, how many rivets would you give it?
I would give it 8.5.
8.5 rivets?
8.5 rivets. It's a good technical film. Everything holds up so far that it's been 2 years since I watched it, but everything holds up still.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's because they didn't try to put too much in there.
Exactly. There's some things that are clearly it's dated, but the overall themes still hold, and the overall story doesn't fall apart.
Okay. Well, that's number 10. What do you have for number 9 on your list?
So I have Superman, the Donner 70 Superman
78.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's just fun.
You'll believe a man can fly.
Yeah. Well, so she's the thing I like the least about that movie.
Lois Lane?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because she sounds like a smoker?
That sequence, the flying dream sequence.
Yeah.
That sequence there is hard. But other than that, I enjoy the whole thing, and that sequence makes me laugh simply because it does not fit the rest of the film at all. This is a famous one with the going backwards shot, which nobody understands what is actually happening there.
When he reverses the Earth's...
But he doesn't reverse the Earth. He's going so fast that he's going faster than the speed of light. He's traveling back in time. So the Earth appears to be rotating backwards because we're seeing time from Superman's vantage point.
Right.
Where the world slows and then it stops because time has stopped and it's reversing now.
Mm-hmm. But he didn't actually make the Earth spin backwards.
No, because that wouldn't reverse time.
Right.
It would just kill everybody on the planet.
Right. He just went back in time.
He went back in time and we watched the Earth from his perspective.
Even though we were out in space watching it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because Superman was old, because he's the main character.
Yes.
Could he have gone that quickly anywhere and gone back in time? It's just that he chose to go backwards around the Earth?
Yes. He could have gone straight out and then straight back, but this way he can do two things. One, he doesn't have to go anywhere, because it's just a matter of building up the speed.
Because he's in the DC universe, so it can be argued that the Speed Force exists at this point.
He does not access the Speed Force.
Well, yeah, but
he just goes fast enough to break the time dilation effect.
Okay.
But that's the first time I've heard anybody explain it that way, And that makes a lot more sense than him actually making the Earth spin backwards and
Yeah.
reversing time, because that never made sense to me.
Yeah, that's what they're showing you is time from Superman's perspective. The other thing is he knows exactly how far back in time by spinning around the Earth. He's watching the Earth saying, okay, when can I act to save everybody? Right? So that's what he's doing. So that's the one scene everybody gets wrong. The real scene people should be objecting to is the her in the monologue internal voiceover thing. That was just, it didn't fit. You didn't need that.
It's been a while since I've seen it.
It's so funny.
It's the first time he takes her out flying, right? And
Yeah.
he's holding on to her just by the tips of his fingers.
Oh,
so
yes.
Remember, and she goes, "Can you read my mind?"
Oh, yeah.
And everybody is like, "Oh, she's singing." I think.
Yeah, it is not a good scene. It does not fit the rest of the movie.
Although it's an excellent scene. It's hilarious.
It's funny, but it does not fit the rest of the movie.
No, it doesn't.
But the rest of the movie, you're like, yeah, it's Superman. It's the Boy Scout. This is Superman. And particularly compared to the modern Superman, you don't stand a chance, man.
Yeah, he was like
Chris Reeves, he's the Superman.
Christopher
he was
Reeve is
everything
Superman.
good and wholesome and cheerful and like tries his darndest to do his best.
The way he transforms from Clark Kent to Superman, you see he's all small and holding into himself.
Slouched.
And the moment he goes to turn to Superman, he grabs his collar to undo it, and you see him straighten up, and he seems to get bigger
Yes.
just from it. That's just really good acting. Do you know what modern Superman looks like? The same. He looks like a big, beefy guy all the time.
True.
He doesn't seem mild-mannered.
Yeah, you know what? I think you have a point right there.
Chris Reeve's Superman, he was Superman, and he was Clark Kent. And they were two separate things.
Correct.
And you can see the change from one to the other. Although, rarely do we see him go from Superman to Clark Kent, but...
Yeah, nobody like lands dramatically and then like puts on a suit and slunches. That would be odd.
Just takes off his glasses, stands up straight, puts his glasses back on, and shrinks back down.
Yeah, it's a good time. He does do that the one time when he's planning to tell her in her apartment. He takes off his glasses and says, Lois, and then she says something that just kind of shoots him down, and he just shrinks and puts his glasses back on. That is a great scene.
Yeah. So if you want Superman, you want the Boy Scout, watch that one. The one with Brandon Routh was supposed to be a sequel to number 2.
I believe that's correct.
So we ignore number 3 and 4.
As we should.
I don't know. The Quest for Peace is pretty good.
Is that 3 or 4?
That's 4, I think.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen all those.
Yeah, Quest for Peace is 4, because the Richard Pryor one is 3, and that is a case of the bad movie not ruining the franchise, because it still makes money.
Yes.
It's the next one that ends the franchise.
Exactly. Yeah. So, very good. And so for Superman 1978, how many ribbons?
So, really good film. It does age, right? But it's an ageless character, but it looks old.
Well, yeah. That's 40 years now.
So it's going to lose marks there because it didn't age as well as The Abyss did. But I would have given it an 8.5. However, that Margot Kidder, "Can you read my mind" scene, it loses a full point for that.
So
that one scene, a good scene doesn't make a good movie, but a bad scene can hurt you.
So 7.5.
7.5.
That's still pretty.
And
good.
I know I've given higher for other things, but that one scene hurts it bad.
Okay. What do you have for your number 8 movie?
So number 8, Katie hadn't seen until I showed it to her, and I think she fell asleep during it.
Uh-oh.
Which was Enemy Mine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a good film from 1985.
Tried to watch it twice, fell asleep both times.
Really?
This one has a theme of understanding.
Yes.
Right?
I watched that so many times as a kid.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Is that the one?
It's got Louis Gossett Jr. and Dennis Quaid in it.
Is that the one with the robot intelligence?
There's no robots in it.
No?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't even know what you're talking.
This is the one where
It's
they're
like a war game thing.
they're enemy fighters, and they both crash land on a planet, and they have to work together to survive.
Oh, like that episode of Star Trek that you love.
Well, I've watched it a few times.
Darmok and Jalad at
No.
Tanagra.
That's different.
No. That's
It's not like that?
no.
Two people who don't like each other have to try and get along?
No, because Darmok and Jalad arrive separately to the island. They don't know each other when they arrive
Oh,
at Tanagra.
Yeah.
They fight the beast at Tanagra together.
okay.
And then they leave the island together as friends.
Okay, well, I've never seen Enemy Mine because
So
Because you fall
I
asleep.
fell asleep.
Enemy
both times.
Mine is literally one human, one alien space fighters. Right? They are fighting and they crash land on this planet. At first, they continue to try to kill each other. And then they're like, well, we got to survive. And one takes one prisoner. And then he escapes and gets a weapon. And then he takes the guy prisoner. And it's very complicated at the beginning. But then it becomes a survival story. And then getting to know one another's culture. And it goes all the way to the point, like, he's like, oh, by the way, after they've been trapped there for a few years, I'm going to be giving birth soon. And he's like, what? There's not even another one of your race here. He's like, well, we can reproduce asexually. So, yeah. But then he gets killed, and so the human raises the alien's baby, teaching him the culture of his people that he learned from his former enemy. And then the humans arrive, an exploitation team arrives to exploit the planet illegally. They have alien slaves. His alien son goes to investigate. He gets kidnapped. He goes to
Rescue him.
right? But he gets knocked out. And then they're like, oh my god, he's this pilot. And then they retrieve him. And then he steals the Starfighter, comes back, fights the slaver crew, frees all of the aliens, and because he can speak the alien language, which no human is supposed to be able to, because humans are too stupid and their tongues are too soft, that ends the war. And he goes to the home world so he can present his friend's son to the people, and his name is now added to the lineage, going back, because they have to say their lineage going back so many generations.
Okay.
I think it's 100 generations.
It's a lot anyway.
Yeah.
So and so, son of so and so,
son of so and so, son of so and so, da 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 da, and they add his name,
A
to the
human's
list.
name to the alien.
So he's now a part of the lineage.
Because he helped raise the alien.
Yeah, and it's really good. It's deeply philosophical. They had to tack on the whole mine scene so people wouldn't, because they thought the audience was stupid and wouldn't get the name Enemy Mine, as in my enemy. So they put a mine in it, so it's the enemy mine.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a whole
subplot behind that.
they still had that scene, those scenes planned out. Like they wanted the slavers there, but they didn't need that scene. They had to make it a mine for that very reason, and it kind of makes the movie have double meanings. So that's okay. Like it's tacked on there because the general public is stupid. But,
yeah, I understand the purpose.
and because it's sci-fi, and like you don't really see too much of the technology, so we don't see a lot of, oh, this is clearly like nobody would do that problems. I think the movie holds up fantastically.
It does actually. Yep.
And its meaning is deep.
It is.
So.
Yes, and I can't tell you how many times I've seen it. And in fact, I watched it sometime within the last year as well.
Yeah.
I tried to get my son to watch it, and he watched maybe half of it, and then he didn't care. But
Yeah.
it's one of those movies that you really have to be in the mood for. You have to have an open mind.
I think I'd probably enjoy it. It's just both times Josh tried to show me I was working way too much.
Well, that's understandable. How many rivets would you give this one?
So I would give it a 9.
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah.
What do you have for your number 7 movie, Josh?
Conan the Barbarian.
Ooh, really?
Not the Conan series, because the way we did this, anything that's a part of the series, we include the entire series. Not the Adventurer, just the Barbarian.
The first one.
Such a good movie.
Oh, you mean Conan the Destroyer was the second
Oh
one.
yes, sorry.
Yeah, so Conan the Barbarian came out in 1982. I assume you mean the one with Schwarzenegger and not the 2011 remake with Jason Momoa.
Well, first of all, that's within the time frame where I said I'm not going to do that.
True.
Also,
Second
no.
of all, he's apparently Conan.
Yeah, he's
like
not
Conan O'Brien. It's Conan the Barbarian.
Right.
Which is not his name. He's Conan the Barbarian with a thick Austrian accent.
Yeah.
I won't accept any non-Austrians as Conan.
Okay. So what do you love about this film?
It's awesome. It's the first sword and sorcery show I ever watched.
Okay.
The witch scene got me caught right into it. I was like, this is kind of slow and boring and boobs! And so I was in. Because I was...
It's not boring. It's hilarious.
I was 7, 8 when I watched this the first time.
I think I was also like 7 or 8 when I first watched it, and I thought it was hilarious and awesome.
Up to that point, though, always we'd seen his training, which was cool. But before that, everything before the wheel was boring when I was 7.
Oh.
Now, I later enjoyed it, although that's not how you make a sword.
No.
That's how you make a copper sword, not how you make
That's how you make a copper sword.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
No. There's a whole story about that. It's pretty great.
Anyways, but yeah, so the movie, it kind of has a theme about not accepting cults, but not really. You don't need that kind of thing for such a movie, right? It's just clean fun. I like the wizard guy. He's fun. I like his thief friend. He's cool. The archer. It's not the same thief friend.
No,
in
it's
the
different thief the second time. I love that guy. He's awful.
So yeah, and it's just fun.
So basically, you just love it because it's cool and it's fun. It's got boobs in it. It's got swords.
It is sword and sorcery done right. And look at the other ones that we've gotten. We've gotten Krull. There's a whole stash of them from the 80s, but most of them were direct to VHS, so,
Right.
We've gotten Krull, we've gotten Scorpion King, could be thrown in that category.
Sure.
You know it's a spin-off, it's The new Conan, They don't have the feels that you need.
The silliness?
Yeah, it's got to be high drama with jokes. It's got to fit nicely.
It's a D&D campaign.
That's what it is. It's a 1 or 2 player D&D campaign.
Yep.
With a good DM and bad players.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So it's on there because it's on there. It's really good.
It's a go-to movie.
And yeah, so their Revit scores are all going to be around the same level.
Yeah, I figured.
But yeah, so this is a solid 8.5. It is a good, fun watch.
Conan, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women. That is good.
It doesn't have a philosophical thing behind it, which is where it loses marks. But it's just fun.
It makes you happy.
Yeah.
All right, that's fair. What do you have for your number 6 movie?
So number 6 is a series.
Okay.
It's Star Wars.
Yes.
We all knew it was going to be somewhere on the list, and it's good. And so I don't know what to say about Star Wars that most people don't know.
It's basically about a boy and his dad.
Actually, it's mostly just about his dad.
Yeah, the whole story revolves around Anakin.
What does that got to do with anything?
/ Vader.
First 6 films are about him. I am in this... I enjoyed 7. Really enjoyed 7. I really enjoyed Rogue One.
Yep.
8 did not make me happy. All right? And a lot of people are like, oh, if you don't like 8, you're a racist, misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. No, I just like my movies to be consistent in theme. And you got a whole back catalog of stuff that says, this is the general feel, stick to this. No, we're not going to do that.
That
Right.
was a little disappointing.
Well, we had the whole discussion where we just concluded Rian Johnson basically subverted our expectations.
Yeah, but you do that once in a movie. You don't just keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right.
Every scene.
Mm-hmm. So, overall, though, Star Wars as a whole.
It's still up there. It's number 6.
Okay. And do you have a favorite film from the series?
Yeah.
Is that Empire?
Yeah. Empire and New Hope stand equal.
I can see that.
You got...
Because New Hope is the original.
Yeah.
It's the originator.
And to be perfectly honest, I think New Hope is slightly skewed ahead now that I'm older. Simply because knowing what I know about how family dynamics work and whatnot, the scene I Am Your Father scene doesn't have as much impact. I don't feel it like I used to.
It's because it's been spoiled for you.
No. Even
You watched it.
Even after that. So, like, my dad isn't my biological dad, and that scene used to have impact, because I never thought of my biological dad. Ever.
Okay.
But as I got older, I've thought about him, well, not really that much, but the concept of what a father is has changed for me.
Okay.
Uncle Owen was his father.
Right, because that's who raised him.
Exactly. He had all the intent purposes of father.
Yeah.
So that scene doesn't have as much impact on me. Not saying the scene shouldn't have impact on him. It should.
Yeah.
But to me, that scene doesn't have as much impact to me.
Okay.
That's all. But it's still a really good scene in a really good movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I thought you meant the initial impact of just, like, the surprise.
No. Like, you get that once. And it's hard to get somebody who hasn't watched Star Wars to show them that scene for the first time. But when you do, I recommend anybody who's showing people Star Wars for the first time, record that scene. Record that as they watch that, just so that they can see what their reaction was years later.
There you go. That's good. Okay, so overall, Star Wars, what's your rating?
Okay, so, original series, original trilogy, 9, prequel, 8.
That high.
Yeah, I enjoyed the prequels. Once you get past Jar Jar in the first one, Jar Jar calms down, and if you take the hidden Sith hypothesis into play,
It makes it much better.
Right. Okay.
because, like, really, he shouldn't have been able to survive as long as he did, with his blind luck and flipping things, and, I just happened to step on this thing that released the thing that did this thing that crushed the enemy,
Yeah.
so I didn't get killed. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
The hidden Sith with a drunken master-style fighting method, it seems to fit perfectly.
Yeah.
The new movies, the side stories, I haven't seen Solo yet, so So Rogue One, it was a good solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, 8. It was good.
7.
Gave me one I wanted.
Force Awakens?
Yeah. The Last Jedi, 4.
Okay.
It's falling. Every time I've rewatched it, it's fallen.
Okay. So overall, Star Wars, you give it 8?
No, averaging out, it gets a 7.
Okay. That's fair.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, who's interrupting my intro?
Is this a joke?
This is no joke, kid. This is the Earth Station DCU Podcast.
No closing anybody. Sickening.
We're not that kind of podcast, kid. We talk DC news, comics, movies, and television.
You gotta do better than that.
We reviewed Supergirl, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, and Arrow every week.
That a fact. How much do I owe you?
You don't owe us anything. The podcast is free.
I just heard this story in the cab, and it is all I can think about.
We are part of the ESO network.
This is amazing.
Why, thank you. And join us every week for another edition of the Earth Station DCU. Now, can we get back to the show, please?
And for your number 5 all-time favorite genre movie, what would it be?
The Last Starfighter.
Very good. The Last Starfighter, 1984, one of my all-time favorite films of all time as well.
It's so much fun. And it makes you believe that you're not wasting your time playing video games. There's a purpose behind you doing it.
Yes. I can't tell you how many times I've seen that film.
It's so good.
You've got the kid in the trailer park dreaming of a better life. The better life comes to him. He rejects it, and then he changes his mind, and he takes the better life. He goes on adventures. He gets to meet Greg, the alien.
You got the robot clone.
The robot clone, Beta.
Yeah.
Yes. You've got alien bounty hunters.
It's fantastic.
You've got...
terrible CG.
oh, it's brutal.
And we recently watched that in HD.
Yes.
And it is so bad in HD.
Yes.
Like, the rest of the movie looks clean, it's real beautiful, looks good in HD. Then you see that CG in HD, and you're like, what?
1984 early graphics, you have to give them credit for being...
They are fantastic for their age. Yeah. They are great for their age. Compared to anything close to I can do better on my laptop than that.
True, but there's also decades since then.
Yeah.
But it also has one of my favorite tropes of the 80s, the giant floating head.
True. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah. That's not a favorite trope of mine.
I want to do a whole episode
about giant floating heads
of the 1980s sci-fi.
Okay.
I just have to find more of them. I can't remember all of them.
This one also has a theme. This one's got a theme of leaving home. It's got a theme of what it means to leave home, connections of family, how your friends can become your new family, and that one lone video game nerd can save the galaxy from an evil armada.
You have been recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
So, yeah.
It's just great.
It's a fantastic movie. I would give it a solid 8. It loses things for the graphics. Like, even going, okay, it takes place in the 80s. Like, any film where it's modern, you have to take it as a period piece later on.
Yes.
So even if they're going, it's a period piece about the 80s, even though it was shot in the 80s. Including that, those graphics really hurt it.
See, if I was going to rate the film, actually, you know what? It'll probably be on my top 10, so I will save my comments for that episode. So why don't we just go ahead into your number 4?
So, this one fits the theme of the show.
How so?
It's Short Circuit.
Johnny Five is alive.
Johnny Five is alive. More input. So many great quotes from those two movies. So anyone who hasn't seen Short Circuit, go watch it.
It's from 1986.
Yeah. It has one of the most racist caricatures you'll ever see.
Number Johnny Five. Am I not telling you not to go outside of the doors?
Yes, Fisher Stevens, the white actor playing an Indian.
Yeah. So that's problematic.
Yes, it is a film of its time.
But, like, the robots are so cool.
They are. They're pretty awesome.
The movie is funny. It is both of them are hands down funny. I prefer the original over the sequel, although the sequel's got some better scenes. But the story is about a nuclear... I don't remember what the whole acronym is. The NOVA acronym. Anyway, there's a bomb disposal robot for nuclear...
Yeah, I don't remember what the acronym is.
And it gets hit by lightning and gains sentience.
It gains sentience with 64K of memory.
Yeah.
But people didn't understand computers back then, so it's fine. It's fine. He slowly develops a personality. And he meets Stephanie, who's takes care of animals. Way too many animals. Her house probably smells like a barn.
Maybe she has all of her windows open. She lives in a warm place.
She runs a food truck and has, 70, 80 pets.
They don't go in the food truck.
Much.
Unless that's what happens to them.
That's where she gets her food
Now
from?
you're just making things dark.
But what makes it a go-to movie for you? Is it the humor? Is it the robot? Is it just...
Johnny Five is one of the most personable characters that you'll find in any show. As a character, he is the 1980s Wall-E. Okay,
There's a similar look, even.
Wall-E is based on.
Yeah.
You know how everybody loved Wall-E?
Yeah.
Everybody loved Johnny Five.
True enough.
They have a similar face.
Well, yeah. It's because of their big, round, expressive eyes.
Yeah. But also the
they're
weird
mechanical.
little eyebrow flaps.
Yeah. Well, it allows for facial expressions
On a robot.
Thing. Yeah. The chase scenes are funny. The show is funny. What he does to her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, is hilarious. It's so good overall. And then the second one has the single best scene in either of the movies, which is the Los Lobos scene.
Los locos kick your ass. Los locos kick your face. Los locos kick your balls into outer space.
I think when we were doing episodes 190 to 200, we did our top 10 robot countdown, and I inserted that in one of those episodes.
So that's my favorite scene. So yeah, it's fun. It is a fun movie with heart. You'll cry, you'll laugh, you'll shake your head at Stephanie and her animals. It's great.
You'll have a good time.
You'll be embarrassed about the racism, like you should be.
But if you can ignore that as a product of its time and just enjoy the film for what it was intended.
See, the one thing I don't get about it is why they made him Indian.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Either get an Indian actor, or don't make him Indian. It has no impact on the story at all.
Yeah.
Because I think he was supposed to be a smart character, and people from India are smart in robotics. Maybe they thought.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people who are smart in robotics.
Yeah, I know, but this is 1980 era filmmakers, so.
I don't know. It came out the year after I was born, so I can't give you much insight into the goings-on of 1986.
True enough. How many rivets would you give it?
It would get 7.5. It loses a full rivet due to racism.
Okay, so if you were to ignore that, just based on its own merits, it'd be an 8.5?
It'd be an 8.5.
That's pretty
good.
good.
The racism, you gotta dock a full point for that.
At least a full point for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, fortunately, he's also not the butt of any jokes for it.
It's just who he is as a character.
Yeah, it's just a weird choice. I wouldn't be surprised if Fisher Stevens just decided, I'm going to be Indian. And everybody's like, what?
Right.
Maybe.
That could be a character choice. True enough. All right. So, next movie on your list, I believe, is the number 3 movie?
Yeah, which is a Disney film.
Okay.
It is a period piece in the movie. So they made it, and it was already a period piece.
All right. Okay. I don't know what this is.
And then it's got time travel.
Ooh.
It's got aliens. It's got adventure. It's a family film that'll make you laugh, and it's got the voice of Pee Wee Herman.
Let me think. Oh, I'm going to say, of course, it's Flight of the Navigator.
It's Flight of the Navigator. This is one of my favorite childhood sci-fi shows.
Same with me. I watched it, must be a dozen times at least as a kid, if not more.
30, 40 times.
Because it came on the Disney Movie Hour Sunday evenings, and it was always on.
Yeah, I recorded it from that.
Okay.
So it's a period piece because it takes place in 77, 78?
I think it was filmed in 84 and took place 6 years previous. I don't have 100% accuracy on that, but something like that.
Yeah. So it's a period piece for the beginning of the film. And then he travels...
it was filmed in 86.
It was filmed in 86. And it took place 10 years before.
Yeah.
In 76.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you got...
78. A boy travels 8 years into the future and has an adventure with an intelligent, wisecracking alien ship. There we go.
So, yeah, a alien ship crashes on Earth because it gets struck by lightning because for some reason they didn't design the ship to take minor electrical discharges.
Something like that.
Or whatever. And it was damaged. And it needed to access its computer files on navigation, but it couldn't directly access it for some reason. So it downloaded all that knowledge into the brain of a boy, and then scanned the brain of the boy to get where it's going. This seems a bit complicated.
Yeah.
But whatever. So after 8 years, it returns to Earth, dropping the boy off in the exact same spot he left from, not realizing 8 years had passed.
And he's still the same age. All his family is grown up, and he's still the age that he was 8 years ago.
Yeah. Goes to go home. Nobody's at home because it's not his home anymore. His parents moved. He goes to the police. The police are like, oh my god, you can't be that kid. He disappeared 8 years ago and he was 10, so, no. And then he's like, but so I'm so. He finally gets a hold of his family. Crazy things happen. Government gets involved. They want to know where he's been. when they hook him up to a brain scanner, they're like, where have you been? And it prints out a star chart because his brain's able to hold that much information and do the math in his head, even though he's supposed to be just a deposit of information and rather than a processor of it, but whatever. And then they find the spaceship because the spaceship got hit by lightning again.
As happens.
Yeah, so it's just waiting around for the Navigator because it can't do anything without the Navigator to get back because he's screwed up. And it goes on.
And the spaceship looks like a giant silver football, and there's a cute little alien creature that the boy has.
It's a fantastic film.
I love it.
It is good for families. We showed our kids. Damien loved it. Mina was because,
Mina doesn't react a lot over many shows.
She's like, yeah, it was fun, and then just walks away.
She likes magical girl anime.
Yeah, so, but it is good for all ages. It's a road trip movie. It is a boy discovering the meaning of family. It's good all around.
It's good for everybody.
It is.
And especially people our age who watched it growing up, so it's nostalgically good.
Yeah.
It's actually good.
And it also has the childhood fantasy aspect. Because he takes over control of the ship at some point and flies it himself. That's cool.
That is.
And everybody wants to fly their own spaceship.
Well, who doesn't? I still do.
I'm afraid I'd crash my own spaceship.
So the cute little alien the little one that hangs from the branch and feeds the berries, that guy, because his planet's been destroyed and you can't bring him home, the ship just leaves it on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of weird. Also, he knows the future, so...
Nothing will go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Nothing has ever gone awry, nor have people ever become corrupt by knowing the future.
Never.
Also, you can't erase things from people's memories. You can install things, but you can't erase things. So he really does still hold the knowledge of the Navigator. So he knows where all the populated star systems, it's subconsciously, but...
It's still there.
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff for one little 12-year-old.
And as we've talked about in previous episodes of the podcast, they should definitely make a sequel to this with the boy all growing up. I think that'd be great.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Or you do one that takes place in 1986 as a period piece.
Mm-hmm.
You get a 20-year-old to play him at the very facility where the alien ship was found, and the alien ship is there, and bam, then he goes to the future, and then he's in the modern era again in the future because time travel, dilation, we need to get back here, yeah, but we need something else. Well, what do you mean? Well, we need something else, Navigator, and there you go, whole other movie.
Yep, I think that'd be great.
Off.
So what would you give this?
I would give it a solid 8.5. A few things in the 80s that they're like, oh, everybody's gonna have these robot things in very short order.
Yeah, that's 80s optimism.
Now it is an alternate future optimism because that's time from a time that he wasn't there, and therefore it changed what the course of the future is. Now it can't be that far off. So all right.
Okay.
So that's number 3.
That's number 3.
Flight of the Navigator.
What is your number 2 movie, Josh?
So, this one, Katie mocks me for enjoying.
Uh-oh.
And I know I'm going to catch hell for saying it. It's a Kevin Smith film.
Okay.
Dogma.
Oh yeah, that's right. I do mock you a lot for watching that. It's just because you watch it really often. You always say, no, I don't, but you do.
And that came out in 1999. It stars Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. And it's got Alanis Morissette as God.
Yeah. So, a couple angels find a loophole in Dogma, which is the Catholic rules, right?
Because they were barred from heaven, but because of the church doing this thing, they could get in.
They found a loophole.
Yeah.
And if they manage to go through... Because all they have to do is anybody passing through the re-sanctified gates of this church at this time will be forgiven of all their sins and a straight path into heaven. But since God said they are banned from heaven or never allowed to come back, this would make God's will violated, and this would cause a paradox that would destroy reality.
Yes. Good film. I've seen it so many times. It's got Selma Hayek in it. It's got the poop monster, the excremental.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Such a bad monster.
It's got a lot of good actors. It's got Chris Rock as Rufus.
Yes, it's got George Carlin in it.
The 13th Apostle. Mm-hmm. You got George Carlin as the father, as the bishop. You got Buddy Christ, right?
Yeah.
That meme that's everywhere. That's where it's from. It's from Kevin Smith.
It is.
Buddy Christ.
Yep.
It's fun. It has meaning in that it's all about how Dogma is stupid. Have faith is fine, but petty rules of Dogma is stupid. Hence the name. The whole plot revolves around it. The only thing that I really didn't like, the biggest sticking point for me in this entire movie, is the name. It's because one of the angels is named Loki, and I'm like, come on.
Yes.
Other than that, that is the thing that catches me the most. It's connected to the rest of the ESDCU universe. So, Jay and Silent Bob are there. Moobies is there, which is their McDonald's franchise thing. So yeah, it's really fun. It's really smart. Very stupid film.
Yes.
Because Kevin Smith really does this a lot. He's got really smart film with really stupid stuff in it.
True. So
it's hard to find that path, and very few people can walk that path. But I suggest you do.
If you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth a watch.
Really, all you need to watch is Clerks, Dogma. I think that will complete all you have to watch from the ESDCU universe. Everything else is just kind of watch if you want. But yeah, because Mallrats, not that it's good, but it's meh. The second Clerks is meh, but yeah, Dogma and Clerks are his two best works in the period that we're reviewing. We're not reviewing the modern ones.
Right, true enough.
Because I would recommend anybody watch Tusk just because it is messed up.
I still haven't seen it.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, me too.
It looks crazy.
It is crazy.
I don't want to die in Canada.
Okay. So for Dogma, your rating would be?
A 9.
That high?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
So, the last film, Katie's going to mock me for.
Okay, what is your number one film of all time?
Okay. So, my favorite genre film, the one that I will watch, if it's coming on in a half hour, I'm going to set it to the channel and I'll make myself snacks and wait the half hour.
Okay.
Just so I don't forget what channel it's going to be on.
Mm-hmm. What is it?
It's a Keanu Reeves film.
Is it Bill and Ted?
No.
Is it The Matrix?
No.
Is it John Wick?
No.
Because that's modern. What is it?
It's Johnny Mnemonic.
Seriously?
Oh yeah, yeah, you do love that movie.
This is my favorite sci-fi film.
From 1995.
It is bad.
It's a horrible movie.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
I recognize that it is bad. I give it a 7.
Okay.
I want to give it less because I know I really should because it's bad. But I love it too much to go anything less.
Okay, so it's your favorite, but you acknowledge that it's not good.
It is terrible.
So why is it your favorite?
I don't know.
You just really like it.
I really enjoy this film.
Is it the futuristic laser thumb weapon?
The completely useless laser Garrett?
Yeah.
Which will most likely, the way he whips it around, just cut himself?
Yeah.
Or how about the girl who's got the belt whip? Or the disease from being around too much technology? Or the cybernetically enhanced super dolphin hacker? Or the
the crazy dolphin hacker and the weird tank.
Or how Johnny's got to hack his own brain. And somehow there's a computer program operating inside of his own brain somehow. But whatever. It is terribly. It is bad. You got some okay actors in it. The plot doesn't make sense. The story is all over the place. They are running from the Yakuza and some crazy cyber preacher. You got Ice-T as the leader of the Retros. Oh, it's so bad.
I believe I saw this in theaters.
Did you? You got to
did.
see it in theaters?
Yeah.
I'm so sad I never got to see this in theaters. This would be awesome on the big screen.
I watched it in drive-in.
Did you?
Yeah.
Glorious.
We went on Father's Day. Our dad took us, and kids under a certain age were free, so we were all free. And we just paid for my mom. And we watched Johnny Mnemonic. There was a different one, and Dumb and Dumber. And they were all bad.
Like, I recommend anybody watch it. It is objectively bad. It's objectively stupid.
I think I watched it within the last year it was on TV. And I watched most of it.
But it's so good. Like, and Keanu Reeves is overacting in this film. Everybody's overacting in this film.
Mm-hmm.
The virtual reality internet. Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, the ideas that they had of what the technology was going to be like, eh?
Exactly. Like, I'm going to log in now. I'm just going to unpack this thing in this completely pointless way. And then I'm going to move it and manipulate the thing. And I've logged
It's
into...
like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah. Like, no. Nobody would do that. A password is easy. It's harder to crack.
Yeah.
It's so...
So bizarre.
Yeah. And, like, they got AI. This world's advanced enough for AI. But they're concerned about these people living on a bridge.
Right.
Like, it's just fantastic. Oh, anybody should watch this film. In fact, turn off this podcast after we're done. Go to your computer. Download Johnny Mnemonic. Preferably from a legal source. So that you can pay Keanu Reeves for his efforts.
Oh yeah, Keanu Reeves is really, really a good person and deserves to get money for all of his things.
And then sit down and watch this movie.
Yes. And 7 rivets out of 10.
7 rivets out of 10. It really should be lower, but it is a good, bad movie. Now, honorable mentions.
What do you got?
I got an honorable mention.
Okay.
This movie is a really good movie. It's fun. And it will get my listing a Bacon score.
What does that mean?
It's Tremors, starring Kevin Bacon.
Oh, good film.
I kind of wanted to put on the list, but I was like, no, because like all the other ones are above it. But I had to mention Tremors, and recently I learned something new.
Oh?
The girl from Tremors, the girl in the pogo stick,
Yeah.
she's Newt from Aliens.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Neat.
I was like, how did I not know this? For years I've enjoyed this film.
Huh. That's cool.
But Tremors, I will watch most of the time it's on.
Mm-hmm.
But any of these come on, I'll switch off Tremors.
Okay.
I'll go to that one.
That's
So it's an honorable mention. It's
yeah.
a really good movie. I really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there we go. That's my list.
That's a pretty good overall list. I like it a lot. We highly recommend all of our listeners go and watch the films and send us feedback if they'd like. And maybe give us their top 10.
So Katie has a hypothetical for us this week. Even though we don't know when this week is. So
It's always my hypothetical. Always.
okay. So Katie, give us your hypothetical.
Okay. So all 4-legged mammals, yes, have the same basic bone structure.
Yes.
It's just that certain bones are shorter or longer. Some of them even become so small that they eventually disappear, like extra toes on a horse, for example. But Josh and I have this really weird debate going on as to whether or not four-legged animals indeed have 4 legs, or if they have 2 legs with 2 feet on them, well, 1 foot each, and 2 arms with 2 feet on them in the front, or if they're all legs with feet on them. My argument is that because of the form that the arms and legs have, because arms are attached to shoulders and the front part of a dog is shoulders. It's a shoulder bone, and therefore it would be attached to arms, but they end in feet. That's my argument. And Josh's is function because you use your legs to walk around on, so that's their legs.
So your basic question is, what do people think?
Yeah.
Do dogs have 2 arms and 2 legs, or do they have 4 legs?
Yeah.
Okay. And they can send their responses either to us on Twitter at TheRustedRobot or through email, therustedrobot@gmail.com.
Yes.
All right, thank you for that. And Josh, thank you for your top 10.
Not a problem.
Thank you, all our listeners, for subscribing to the podcast, downloading and listening, and sharing with your friends. Tune in next week for another exciting episode. And remember,
I want room service! I want the club sandwich. I want the cold Mexican beer. I want a $10,000 a night hooker. I want my shirts laundered like they do at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo.
this has been another episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast. You can contact us by emailing therustedrobot@gmail.com or tweeting us at therustedrobot. Visit our website at therustedrobot.podbean.com. And, if you would, please check us out and like us on Facebook. A 5-star review in iTunes is appreciated. The Rusted Robot Podcast was written, produced, scored, edited, engineered, and directed by Sean Vanderloo. Your co-host was Josh Montney. Don't forget to visit Jump City Comics in the 101 Mall and listen to our other show, the Soulforge Podcast. Visit Sean on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo.
The Rusted Robot Podcast. Think about it.
Stormtrooper docking bay, Dagobah, Padme, or synchronic wedge until he's poke to SO. Mon Calamari West, Jansen, Star Destroyer, Meditation, Taco Donna, Scarab, Jeddah, Ahsoka Tano.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.